Hello, this is Robots, Detective, and Spies with Sean. I'm Sean, and this is my friend.
I'm Liz, and I work at Public Access Television. Hello.
Yes, so today we're talking about the film Robin Hood, the 2018 version starring Tara Egerton and Jamie Foxx.
Yep, that's right.
Yeah, and it's a film I saw in theaters back then. I was in college.
Okay.
I saw it by myself. I must have invited a bunch of friends, and nobody showed up. But yeah, and then all that stuff. So yeah, I think before we go through the chronological breakdown, because that's what we decided to do. What's your takeaway?
My initial takeaway is it is a very rich film. I love all of the special effects and the acrobatics, like the archery. You know, work and everything like that. I mean, clearly everybody who was in this film went through a lot of training to you know to pull all of this off. I just in everything. The racing of the horses through the streets. I'm sure they took care of that. No animals were hurt in the process or anything. It looked a lot of it looked CG, but I like the nod to other movies that was also in this film, such as Zero Dark 30, A Knight's Tale, and
The Matrix at one point.
Matrix, Hunger Games, and I always like that when there's always these little nods through movies, nodding to you know, the the certain aspects of other movies that I find interesting too. So that was my initial takeaway. Also, too, and we can get into this when we talk more. Is that the beginning is Marion is the initial thief, or she's a thief. She's trying to steal a horse to help her neighbor out, so the neighbor can plow, can harvest their fields and everything like that. And then that's when she and Robin of Locksley meet, and they fall in love.
Yeah, 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 yeah. I
It
just
gives Marion some what am I trying to say?
characterization.
Characterization,
Yeah,
but also it gives Marion, agency and everything. Not that and the other film with Russell Crowe
yeah. Kate
and
Blanchett.
Kate Blanchett. I mean, she had agency in that film as well too.
And I'm trying to remember the Kevin Costner one, her in that, because you think more about Alan Rickman or Morgan Freeman.
Yeah.
The Robin of Sherwood, which is the 1980s one, she joins the band
Okay.
at some point. I think, and actually, I think she's the same character between seasons.
Oh, okay.
It's a different, very different take, more like pagan and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's interesting. And then of course you have Elizabeth de Havilland or Olivia de Havilland in the
Oh,
Airplane.
yeah, Olivia de Havilland and
De
everything.
Havilland,
Yeah.
yeah, I think she passed away
She did. Yeah.
7-ish years ago.
Yeah,
At 100 something.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah,
lived
she's a more
long time. Yeah.
and then of course you have the Disney animated one, which is
Yep.
arguably the closest one to the source material. If I can
Oh, really? Okay.
No, of like, you got TV shows and stuff and whatever, but
Yeah.
yeah, it's an interesting thing. The oh, are you done with your thoughts or did
Yes.
you?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's an interesting thing. Every one of these remakes, Robin Hood is a little bit different than say like something like Batman or Sherlock Holmes, where there's not like an IP that's owned by copyright or even a single author, which you wouldn't have with Batman per se, but you do with Sherlock and stuff,
Right. Yeah.
where they take there's tropes in it where different interpretations, different centuries have taken different views. You can read Robin Hood as a Saxon patriot, or you can read him as an outlaw. You
Yeah.
could have I don't know more I don't know Rousseauian or libertarian or collectivist or just different reads
Yeah.
of it.
Yeah.
But King Arthur, where like Lancelot is written by a French author.
Yeah.
It's from what I remember, and so some of the stories have him, some of them don't. I
Yeah.
kind of don't, not the biggest fan of that character, but
You talked about the different iterations of Robin Hood, and you
mm-hmm.
brought up Sherlock Holmes, and they do that's done a lot with Sir Arthur Conan Doyle's initial interpretation of his stories of Sherlock Holmes. I love all of those different
Yeah,
interpretations too over the years. I mean,
yeah,
the TV shows or the movies.
yeah,
The most recent TV show, Benedict Cumberbatch,
yeah.
interpreting Sherlock Holmes. I just find them so fascinating, and what they take and what they keep and what they might take away. Now there's a new show called Watson on TV
Oh,
with
really?
Morris Chestnut and everything.
So
And
he's
so
a British actor?
no, he's American, I believe.
Okay.
Yeah.
It's interesting. Yeah. Well, and it's the difference is there's a series of books, like if you want to talk about canon or something,
Yeah.
which is a term that they use a lot of times in genre fiction. That like Star Wars used to have it where there was like the film where the fixed canon, and then there was all this expanded media was the looser canon, and there was varying levels of how much that was true, and then
Yeah.
recently they've kind of gone to sort of like this. It's all different levels at one point, and then now it's all every game, every book, all is on
Yeah.
the same level.
Yep.
And so it kind of goes through
Yeah.
a different level. So there's definitely different aspects of Robin Hood. So like the Norman versus Saxon thing, which you'll read in like Ivanhoe, is big in that. And I was reading up on Ivanhoe for some reason.
Okay.
There's a decentish adaptation from the 80s, which I quite like. It's got, I think, Sam Neill and John Rhys Davies in it and stuff.
Okay. Yeah.
But the whole Norman versus Saxon thing, there's an argument if that was even contemporary.
Yeah.
I would have to do a lot of reading on that to know if that's true or not. But a lot of Robin Hood adaptations take his small appearance from that book and kind of expand on it.
Sure. And,
Yeah.
Are you saying Robin Hood? There's like a character like Robin Hood appears in the Ivanhoe stories?
Oh,
Or?
well, no, Robin Hood himself appears.
Okay.
So
okay. Wow. Okay.
the
I did not know that.
Saxons would be, their way of life, all that stuff. That
Yeah.
not that it was over or anything like that, but the Normans, which would be the French. Now technically both King Richard, because they're brothers, would be both. They were both of French descent.
Yeah.
But it's usually framed as sort of like a more like self-determination, like we prefer our Saxon way of life. There's whole scenes in the book where you have one guy speaking to, would it be Middle English or early modern English? And then the guy's speaking back to him in French. It's an interesting book. There's even this commentary on like stuff like that. But the reason why I bring it up is that is a particular interpretation of Sherlock Holmes that works in that context of him being. I don't know if he's a noble. It's a little bit more ambiguous, but he ends up helping the Saxons in the end.
Okay.
And Prince John, I don't think is really in the book much.
Okay. Yeah. This particular movie made in 2018 with Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx, along with Jamie Dornan and Eve Hewson. I have the cast pulled up on my phone here. It takes place during the Crusades, and when before we went on the air here, I was talking to you about the how he was, he received his draft notice, by delivery and everything, and he's inducted into military service and conscripted, if you will, and what a contemporary association that is,
Before we, is that before or after the So I have here a time code 3 minutes 12 seconds.
Yeah.
Is that when Fartak says the line, "Forget history, forget what you've seen before, forget what you think you know"? Is that after he meets Miriam or before?
I don't. It might be around about the same time. It might be around about the same time. And everything, yeah. And the Russell Crowe film too, with Robin Hood, where he stars as Robin Hood or Robin of Locksley. He's in the Crusades, and I was trying to remember in
Yeah.
that movie because the Robin of Locksley and Robin Hood made in 2018. He's away for 4 years.
I think 5. Yeah.
Is it 5?
Yeah.
Okay, and he's coming back. He gets injured in the Crusades, but he tries to save Jamie Foxx's character, Jamie Foxx as Little John, Little John's son. He's not able to save the son, but Jamie Foxx Little John remembers him for that, and so,
Yeah.
but Robin of Locksley is sent home on a hospital ship, and he wants to reunite with Marion, and she's serving soup or what have you to the miners because
Do you,
go ahead.
sorry to interrupt there.
Yeah, that's okay.
So what I'm looking at here is I got the notes with my time codes and stuff.
Sure.
So the first thing the film started off at, I don't need to read these time codes off because then people know
Yeah.
how incorrect they are. But it starts with a shot of the book and then the title
Yes.
sequence, which is kind
Yeah.
of more modern graphic.
The wood block sequence and everything.
Yeah.
My notes here, it reminded me of the opening of Argo, the movie Argo.
I've not seen that. Yeah.
But the kind of the wood block type opening, it's a really cool opening in Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Ben Affleck and
Yeah.
Argo, yeah.
So you got Friar Tuck narrating, and then it transitions to live action. So then you have Maid Marian in a disguise breaking into Robin's stables.
Yeah.
It's gonna, I haven't known here. It's like a meet cute kind of thing in air quotes.
Yeah.
And then he catches her, and then she says she's trying to steal the horse for a neighbor so he can feed his family and all that stuff. Romantic subtext. Marion expresses. I'm just reading my notes out loud.
Yeah.
But that's the first scene of the film. I guess if you want to put the thesis there as a whole.
Yeah.
The whole. It takes the more, let's say, last 70-ish years of like Norman versus Saxon, which I think the Errol Flynn film is more along those lines. King Richard showing up at the end to kind of save the day.
Okay.
And
Which King Richard in that Errol Flynn film? Is it Richard the second or the third or?
I don't remember. I don't remember which. My friend Robin Hood. If he's, I can't remember. He might not even be in it, but it's.
Oh, okay.
Some of them have it just be the sheriff. Some of them have it where it's. I'm gonna sneeze here for a second. Mute for a second,
okay.
future me. Actually, never mind. Let me see if I can find the cast thing here. But the Ian Hunter. I don't know what it is. Oh yeah, Basil Rathbone is the guy of Gisborne in that one. Claude Rains as Prince John. That's cool.
Oh, cool. Yeah.
Yeah, I like Claude Rains. He's the Invisible Man is hilarious. But anyways, so just I guess the point I'm making there is the film frames it. So the 2010 version with Russell Crowe, directed by Ridley Scott, is like it could be retitled "Some Guy That Kind is Robin Hood, but with the Magna Carta instead."
Yep.
The
That's an interesting interpretation because he comes back disguised as Marion's husband that had died in the Crusades.
Robert,
and so that and that's a very interesting interpretation.
I might put my timer on here real quick. But so this one here, so you have this whole sequence, they meet, and then he's all like, "You're gonna have the horse," and then that's where their relationship starts. And then the narration picks up, and then Friar Tuck's just talking over a montage, and then you see Robin get drafted. You see the sheriff, that jacket is something.
Yeah.
I don't. It's like they bought that jacket.
Oh, yeah. Let's talk about period dress. I mean, just is it? If I can riff on that for a moment. you know, clearly they're going, you know, what would be, you know, traditional dress at that time. They're reinterpreting it. So
Yeah.
every, you know, somebody's got a leather jacket on, or they've got high-heeled shoes. Especially when they were. My notes here is that when they go to the party at
Oh shit.
yeah,
It's
and
historical anachronism at the party.
right, yeah, and it's like, you know, everybody's descending from their carriages, and it gave me like Met Gala vibes, that
Yeah.
kind of thing, and it was really cool. I mean, they
Yeah.
took some contemporary stuff and put it into this film, kind of like A Knight's Tale,
Sure.
or
It's a Heath Ledger film, isn't it?
yes,
Yeah.
Heath Ledger,
yeah.
and everything, and I kind of. Game of Thrones type of, you know, feel to it and stuff like that. Yeah.
It's the interesting thing is that most films don't have, even films that attempt to be accurate, have issues with correctly doing the clothing of the period and all that stuff. There's a YouTuber I watch that she does like sewing and stuff like
Okay,
for stuff
yeah.
and talks about the stitching and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So, but the thing is, like, you typically can see, like, oh, in a film that's more accurate, attempting to be more accurate, you'll see, like, machine stitching. And,
Yeah.
But this is kind of like, oh, it's forget what you know is that line he has, which is, forget history, forget what you seem. This is the narration by Fire Talk.
Okay.
Forget what you think you know. This is no bedtime story. Stealing a few coins is all what he did, all he was. Robin Locksley would have never become Robin Hood. I don't know if that's 100. If I got that 100% right.
Yeah, that's interesting though. Forget what you know, forget history, and it kind of like
Yeah.
it plays back into the film, because it's like
Yeah.
it's Crusades time, but with a contemporary look to it.
Yeah.
I mean, insofar as dress and everything like that.
Yeah,
I was
where
thinking, you know.
I have a friend that he does what you call rendezvous, which are historical reenactments.
Okay.
And he
Yeah.
was talking about how you'll see stuff in like even the Hobbit films and the Lord of the Rings and the Hobbit films. Specifically, he was talking about the Hobbit film where you'll see a brain tanned hide.
Okay.
Where someone actually went and actually made props for the film using historical processes,
Yeah.
which was always struck me odd. Where you'll see a lot of overtly fiction, as in it's not even set on Earth. Well,
Yeah.
technically Middle Earth is Earth, but there's something that's supposed to happen in the story before, you know,
Sure.
Earth goes from flat to round, all that stuff.
Yeah.
But with the film, it's the whole line. Forget what you know. It's like, this ain't your dad's Robin Hood. This ain't your
Right.
Yeah.
Yeah. A friend and I were talking about, you know, like Civil War films and
Yeah.
everything. I can't name anything specific, but
Yeah.
he had said, or they had said, you know, Civil War buffs watch those, and they're like, you know, he had talked to some Civil War buffs and people who study the Civil War, and they said the buttons aren't correct, or
Yeah.
the stitching isn't correct,
Yeah.
or anything for
Yeah.
the time and everything.
Yeah. So speaking of anachronisms, so you go from the draft notice, and then
Yeah.
you go to the conflict itself.
Yes, yeah.
Oh no, you're right. It is 4 years later. Mm-hmm. Yeah,
Oh,
but you're.
okay.
Sorry about that. Yeah,
it's
you're 4
okay.
years later. So 4 years later, we're in Arabia. It looks like they bombed the place. Like you
Yeah.
just got all that stuff. Robin's in a squad. He's moving for what looks like. Oh, I'm just reading my notes here.
It does look, yeah, like they, like it, you know, like the contemporary, you know, bombing the place.
Yeah.
It does, and it's just
Yeah.
like that was a lot of destruction, you know.
Yeah.
But then, they did the rocks. Remember they
The
did
trebuchets.
Yeah, they
become stone throwers.
yeah, stone throwers. So
Yeah.
you know, I don't know if that was all done with stone or what have you, but yeah.
So yeah, because the sequence is they're going and they get to this place, and it's like all of a sudden they go.
Yeah.
But it's more
Yeah.
it's more like semi-automatic kind of a thing, but it's still like a.
Well,
which-
yeah. John can fire 3 arrows in a second and a half, because you showed me that little video
Yeah,
of the
yeah, the
training
train.
the training the actors took.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I'm sorry. I meant there's like a machine gun
Oh,
arrow, like
oh yeah,
a
yeah,
Da
yeah. That's
Vinci
right. That's right.
steampunk kind of
Yeah,
thing.
yes, very much steampunk. Yeah, and
Yeah.
it's like that machine gun air, those arrows and everything. Yeah.
So
Ugh.
so yeah, and so they're pinned down because this is all of a sudden it's modern warfare. So he like does the whole thing where he's taking the mirror and he's gonna like, and then the mirror gets shot because this thing is. I never could figure out. I think there's a later one that's like a burst weapon where it just shoots out like a whole bunch of arrows, and then
Yeah.
but this one, so he does the whole thing. He's like, you gotta go around.
Yeah.
You gotta go around. So he takes a guy called. The only reason why I know his name is because of Prime does that whole like name thing. But his character called
yeah,
Clayton.
yeah. It's they let you see who the cast is in
Yeah.
a certain scene of the film and everything. Yeah.
So they're going and they're doing this.
It's called the X-ray, I believe.
Yeah. So this would be the 1100s. I think this is when it happened. So I don't know what siege warfare would look like, but presumably you would have close quarters combat typically with bows. So it's a spin on that.
Yeah.
They're everything's kind of it's more whatever. They kind of look like modern military. So yeah, they're holding their bows like rifles, and then the local defenders, which would be ancient Turks or whatever what the correct name from at the time would be.
Yeah.
They're like running around like ninjas. Like they're just
they are. Yeah, they are. It's
at some point I stopped trying to figure out the correct name for them and just started calling them the ninjas.
I think I was saying something out loud when I saw they were Robin Hood's or Robin of Locksley's platoon was moving in,
Yeah.
and you could see the Arabs,
Yeah, so-
John's platoon.
Yeah.
I'm like, oh no, they're up above and everything. They basically it was the Robin of Locksley's outfit was getting boxed in and everything. Yeah.
So and then the ninjas they take out the gunner. The whole like they flank him and then he's under fire. Take out the gunner and then he goes back and the ninjas just took Clayton. Yeah, character. Which I wonder if anytime you have a name character like that, I wonder if that's like supposed to be like Munch, the miller's son or something like that.
Yeah.
But anyways, so then Gisborne is kind of like whatever, leave him, and then he chases. Of course, they have him tied upside down,
Yeah.
and then they all surround him. And then of course there's another. I don't know if it's the same type, but another machine gun arrow thing, and then they're you see Jamie Foxx's character come up for the first time. He's like doing like I don't know if you've ever seen the Assassin's Creed games at all.
No.
You can like jump down and like he's like doing takedowns
Yeah.
and all that stuff. And it's like they clearly, at least in hand-to-hand combat, and so they shoot a smoke arrow straight up in there, and then you see a guy without any optics or anything go smoke, and then they just fire it down.
Oh yeah. For the smoke gives them cover because they're up above. Is that
No, it's a signal flare
Oh,
basically.
okay.
Yeah,
Oh, okay.
yeah.
Okay.
So he sees the smoke and all the trebuchets go, and then you see, and it's like
Yeah.
all that stuff.
Wow, yeah.
And then Robin goes further to try to find him, and then Jamie Foxx starts fighting him hand to hand.
Yeah.
And then he starts getting strangled by him, or not quite strangled, but whatever the right term is. And then he starts hallucinating back his memories to marry him, and then Jamie Foxx loses his hand and all that stuff. So then there's that sequence, but it's interesting. Did the mix of modern military, and bows and all that stuff, did that work for you?
I liked it.
Okay.
Clearly this, it's a reinterpretation of the story of the legend and everything like that, and there's been many movies and TV shows that have interpreted this story over the years, and when you can mix it up like that, I really liked it. I like the nods to other movies, Game of Thrones, A Knight's Tale, Zero Dark 30.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean, and I don't if the director, or or the director of photography or the director themselves was, doing that as a nod to these other movies. I never mind that. I always think it's really cool. So,
Yeah, so what do they
yeah,
call it? Intertextual,
yeah,
whatever. Yeah,
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 yeah.
yeah.
I had made a note here that when Robin of Locksley got back to Nottingham, he discovers his his manor has been destroyed by the
Yeah.
sheriff of Nottingham because the sheriff needs money to keep funding the war, and I felt that having Locksley and Jamie Foxx's character John training in the ruins of Locksley Manor, it kind of took back all of the destruction that was given upon Locksley Manor. It was like Robin's taking that back as he's learning to fight and learning to
Yeah.
shoot better, in order to fight the sheriff of Nottingham, because he knows what the sheriff is doing is wrong.
Yeah, because
Yeah.
the setup for that is that Little John follows him back to England after they do that thing where they intentionally wound him so they can send him back. I've seen that in other
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
because he wouldn't outrage Gisborne, but because he's a noble, they can't.
Yeah, Rhea.
They can't.
Yeah.
I don't know how accurate that is, but it doesn't matter for this kind of film. And so because he at least tried to save Little John's son, and Little John's able to escape after his son gets killed, despite Robin's effort. They wound Robin and send him back for basically committing treason, and he was at his house. Now I don't know what his house was made out of, but man. I don't know how long it had been empty for. I think it was like 2 years.
Yeah.
It looked like it had been left there for about 60.
Yeah, right. I mean, yeah, that I felt that was my reaction too. I'm like, this
Yeah.
is. I mean, look at the destruction of this place. This place looks like it's been abandoned for decades.
You think
and
think
just,
it went for the 1940s
yeah,
or
right?
something
Yeah,
like that.
exactly. It kind of looked like a bombed out building
Yeah.
from the 1940 from World War II.
I was watching the Daredevil show, and a part of the things is that the Punisher has just left his house intact.
Okay.
And I always thought about the fact that nobody broke in, but yeah, if you had your doors locked and you turned your water off and you turned your gas off, it would probably mostly look the same
Yeah.
if you haven't been there in
Right, yeah.
a year or two. But yeah, and especially since a lot of these buildings would have been made out of stone too.
Right. Yeah. It's
yeah.
like the doors were wooden, and obviously somebody they had broken in or used an axe on the door, because that scene of where Robin comes up and he's looking through the hole in the door and everything, and
So he after that he goes to the church, and we meet. Well, we've been hearing his voice, but we meet Fire Tuck for the first time.
Tim Minchin that I just looked up, and he's Tim Minchin's from Australia, an Australian actor and comedian, musician, writer, poet. I mean, just a lot of things, and it's really cool.
Yeah, and so he's asking. He's telling him he got declared dead, and they seize his property and all that stuff, and yada yada. And then he mentions, excuse me,
That's okay.
he mentions that a lot of the commoners have moved to the mines.
Yeah. Yep.
What was your take on that? Like, who owned the mines? What were they doing there?
My take on that was
What were they mining?
they never said what they were mining, but you had this fire.
like oil derricks going on in the background.
Right, yeah. And it was like, I don't know what they're mining, but Marion's now she's the canteen. She's running the canteen, and but it was my take was on it is the sheriff of Nottingham is got taken all of the community, and basically people are being forced to work in the mines to fuel the war effort and everything, and I'm just like, that is,
But
that's and that's similar to other stories where people are
But it seemed like they did have some presence there, but like it wasn't. It seemed like he seizes the mine at a later point in the film. So it's like, is it a collectively owned mine? Like, what exactly is going on there?
Okay, well, I just happened to watch the Ten Commandments this past Saturday, and it's just all the people of all the people being used to build the pyramids and
Yeah,
everything like that. Yeah.
yeah, all that stuff because they were literal slaves, and
Right.
that's the wild thing about those mines is that the idea you could just get up and leave during during the
Yeah.
era of feudalism,
Right.
because the whole structure.
Yeah.
So I was just trying to figure out who owned these mines, what were they mining, all that
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah,
It was never really said or anything
it
like.
it kind of doesn't matter, but they say enough about it to make you wonder. Because there's that whole plot point where he sends his men over to the mines. It's oh. If some of the later discussions, it almost seems like there's some level of safety there.
Yeah, I suppose
Yeah.
so long as you are, I suppose, working or able-bodied,
Yeah.
you're allowed to live.
Yeah, yeah,
I don't,
yeah.
that,
It made it a little bit what's the word? Some other reviewers it's like I said, I saw this film back in 2018, but some other reviewers thought it was a collectively owned mine. That wouldn't make any sense. That would be like yeah, that wouldn't even happen today. I mean, just the amount of infrastructure and resources would have to go into that
Right.
would be weird.
that whole scene reminded me of I was looking up on my phone here, The Way Back, which is a 2010 film starring Jim Sturgis, who is
Okay.
in a Nazi prisoner of war camp.
Yes.
And or a Nazi concentration camp, and it's been a while since I've seen that film. But the prisoners are forced to work in a mine.
Yeah.
That kind of thing. And The Way Back is an awesome film. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just
Yeah, there's definitely. I'm trying to remember the other adaptations and stuff. Clearly they got the metal from somewhere, and there's always a question
Yeah.
of that where that would have,
Right.
what part of England that would have, the mines would have been at and all that stuff. But
Yeah.
I don't know. It's a weird plot point because it's funny.
Yeah.
And-
what are they? It's never specific what they're mining exactly.
Yeah.
Just that they're working. Everybody's working in some capacity in these mines. And if you're able-bodied and able to work, you're
Yeah.
you're more or less allowed to
Almost
live. It's implied.
Driven out of their homes,
Yeah.
and it's like the Industrial Revolution happened earlier.
Right. And well,
Like 700 years earlier.
since Robin has been away, the Nottingham has descended into chaos because, as we find out later,
Yeah.
the sheriff and the church are funding the Arabs in the Crusades. They're basically
Funding both
traitors.
sides.
Yeah. And it's like they're double crossing, and I was like, no way, that was.
How much would that cost?
Yeah, see, well, that everybody's working. I suppose that's why the sheriff of Nottingham wanted to keep the mines going and everything.
like-
Played by Ben Mendelsohn,
Yes.
who has I watched the series Bloodline,
Yes.
and he plays the bad brother in Bloodline.
He's
So, I
also in the Nicolas Cage film Knowing,
okay,
if you've seen that.
I haven't, but he's kind of menacing in Bloodline. He's very menacing in Robin Hood. Is he
Yes.
menacing in that film that?
No,
okay.
he's just this is before he got famous, because he's in a lot of films as a villain now.
Yeah.
He's also he's not a villain in Marvel. He's like an antagonist and becomes whatever. It's from a film I haven't seen, but yeah, he's in a Rogue One as like one of the Imperials, and yeah, Knowing's a very strange. It's directed by the guy that made Dark City
Okay.
and all that stuff. I saw it, and I've seen it, and it's very Nicolas Cage. It's the best way to
Okay.
describe it.
Yeah. Okay.
But that's you got freak out scenes and all that stuff. It's an interesting film, but he's just kind of his skeptical best friend about the Nicolas Cage as a way to see into the future.
Okay.
But yeah, to get back on that. So Robin sees Marion serving and all that stuff, and then oh no, Will Scarlet's there, and he like embraces her, and then he kind of walks away before she can see him.
Yeah. Yep.
Yeah, it's interesting. There's a scene in Batman versus Superman where Lois Lane goes to the Middle East,
Okay.
and she's dealing with the her cameraman who played, and he's is it Jimmy Olsen in Superman? That's like his best friend.
I haven't seen that one yet.
Yeah,
so I
it does that thing where they take a name, and it's like, oh, here's a random name of a character, Yeah, it's Jimmy Olsen. So Jimmy Olsen's like kind of not like a Robin character, but he's like a young reporter that works at the Daily Planet. So they take him and repurpose him as like a random CIA agent who's alive for about 10 minutes and
Oh,
then dies.
okay.
So Will Scarlet he's kind of in the versions I've read. He's a little bit more. I don't know. He's like kind of I don't know if dainty is the right word, but then he also has like a ton of natural strength. So the first
Okay.
story you read of him meeting Will Scarlet, I don't know if he knows that's his cousin or not, but Will Scarlet's just kind of walking around and he makes fun of him. And then Will Scarlet pulls a tree out,
Oh,
and then they go into the whole like fighting with bows kind of thing,
okay, okay.
and then after he gets beat by him, he asks him to join his gang kind of thing. It's similar to the way he meets similar to the way he meets Prince Little John, not Prince John. But yeah, it's not that he can't do that, but it's like since he's such a different character, why not have him have a different?
Yeah, like a different role. Because
Yeah.
aren't Robin Hood and Will Scarlet, aren't they,
Cousins.
they're
Yeah.
cousins, historically friends and everything like that, or just
Yeah, so
yeah.
there's different versions and all that stuff. In I'm just looking up here. Yeah, he's in some of the oldest stories that,
Okay.
according to the reference and stuff. Um, Actually, I don't know if I don't know if maybe I mix up with a different guy, but he's a very different character. At least the
Yeah.
story about him like
Yeah.
fighting, not cause and effect. What am I looking up here? But it's who's Robert? Oh, you know what? I just realized. Yeah, no, yeah, it is. Will Scarlet. In some of the versions, it's his cousin. He also has
Oh, okay.
a character who's his cousin that is also the who kills him at the end of the story.
Oh, okay.
But
Okay.
that's a whole other thing. That's at least my least favorite part of the story.
Yeah.
He dies very similar. Yeah. Anyways,
Yeah.
but so nothing wrong of him being Will Scarlet. It's just really strange that he is.
Yeah, you mean the actor Jamie Dornan?
Yeah, there's nothing wrong with him being Will Scarlet, but
Yeah.
really,
Yeah.
it's a bit like when like I said, that's why I brought up the Jimmy Olsen thing. Like,
Yeah.
if he's not a reporter working for the Daily Planet, he has a different relationship with Superman. He's also older too.
Yeah.
So it's like, it's
Okay.
yeah. The Dark Knight Rises does that same thing too, where Robin shows up, but you don't hear his name to the end. And the idea that he'd be
okay.
the next Robin. He's
You know, I didn't in this movie Robin Hood 2018 that we're discussing.
Yeah.
Are Taron Egerton as Robin Hood and Jamie Dornan as Will Scarlet? Are they cousins in this? I didn't get that connection. Are they cousins at all? Or
Yeah, and it's not according to what I just read a second ago. It's not every single story,
okay.
but they're usually at least friends. You know what I'm saying?
Okay, yeah. I was
Yeah.
surprised to see that Will was not his friend, or that Will was
Yeah.
somebody on the periphery of Robin's world.
Yeah,
Yeah,
and
so that was interesting.
I think you could definitely do different versions of Will because there's different versions of him in the story.
Yeah.
It's
yeah.
just weird when he's such a different character. But yeah, like I said, I have in the notes. It's like Mordor, which in the mind remind me a bit of Mordor from Lord of the Rings.
Okay,
At least the
okay.
film version.
Yeah.
You just have the random fires going up, like they're
Yeah. That's another nod to another movie, Lord of the Rings, I think.
because
Yeah.
one of the ideas is that the Sauron is breeding industrialization and deforesting and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So then you see the sheriff's men, which are like stormtroopers almost, because
Yes.
their faces are covered.
Yeah.
Reminds me, but did you ever see the Prince Caspian, the second Narnia film that came out?
No, I didn't. No.
There's they have a very it's like stormtrooperish, where they're kind of depersonalized.
Okay, yeah.
If either version, Star Wars or real life.
Those iron masks or those steel masks did depersonalize them a lot. Yeah, it was
Yeah.
very menacing.
Because Yeah, and then so after he sees Mary and all that stuff, then little John finds him. And of course, they fight with staffs. Maybe it's a reference to the book. Maybe it's just do an action scene. And it goes this whole thing about I want to get back, not just at anyone specific.
Yeah.
Because I don't. Yeah, you never see Gisborne die in the film, do you?
In this film?
Yeah.
I don't believe so. No.
Yeah, that would've-
Yeah. Does he die in other films? Guy of Gisborne?
Gisborne is typically he's there's a few different versions of him. You have the version, there was a BBC adaptation a few years ago where he's just like a guy,
Okay.
and he's kind of like, you got the sheriff. Gisborne is like his second in command. He's a knight working under the sheriff.
Okay.
Other version, Gisborne is like straight up like a crazy dude. Like,
Okay.
we hired a guy,
Oh.
and
Okay.
we wouldn't he's the kind of guy that you'd be afraid of. And he nearly kills Robin Hood. Like, it's very close in some
Okay.
versions. So this version's not very far away. The idea of him being another veteran that's from the war. He's I've seen comparisons, and he's kind of like he's like not McTavish. What is the guy's name? I want to say Soap, but that's not. He's kind of like one of the main characters in the original Modern Warfare games, where he's kind of like pragmatic. He's got the same accent and kind
Okay.
of beard and stuff, but I don't think it's McTavish.
Okay.
What is
I'm looking up Paul Anderson. He plays Guy of Gisborne in this movie, but he was in Peaky Blinders, and you were saying the director of this, was it the director of this movie who directed Peaky
I think
Blinders?
I'm not sure how many episodes in the season, but he's one of the he's not the showrunner, but he's one of the directors of
Okay.
the first season.
Okay.
Show I'm not familiar with, but I had in one of my classes, actually around the time this film came out, there was a guy behind me that would ask the professor then in a class if she'd seen Peaky Blinders, but he had a Scottish accent.
Oh, okay.
Which
okay.
was really
Yeah,
funny.
Yeah.
I don't know what he was saying
Oh,
actually
that's
for the
funny.
first
That's
for the first bit. Yeah, cool dude actually.
Yeah,
Anyways, yeah. So then he's like, I want to get back at the man, kind of little John's all like, and basically this whole war is about enriching people and more profiteering and all that stuff. We gotta. He wants to do something. He makes it sound like all wars, but specifically this war.
Yeah.
And so then they go somewhere. I don't remember how, but they end up in the city square. It's this weird, multi-leveled
Yeah.
thing, and basically it gives a whole thing about the war efforts. The enemies in your back could basically be in your backyard if you don't pay.
Yeah, which, Taron Egerton as Robin Hood is he's kind of greasing the sheriff of Nottingham, Ben Mendelsohn. He's like, whatever you need, because Robin Hood wants his life back, and he's like and I think it was Jamie Foxx's character as Little John or John. He said, get in good with him so that you can figure out what's going on.
Yeah. Oh, Captain Price was the character. Should I say earlier?
Oh, okay.
Yeah, which, like I say, you probably don't play all games. I think McTavish is the main character.
Okay.
But I completely lost my train of thought there. Oh yeah, but the whole thing is that this is funny. It's a city council meeting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is that they're trying to basically they're trying to do a that's the main character. Anyways, they're trying to do a vote to basically pass more taxes, and the whole
Yes.
thing is that if you don't, they'll be in our backyards by next week kind of thing. And so he's talking about the importance of the war tax. They'll overrun us unless you give us more money, kind of stuff. And then basically, Friar Tuck is all like, "Hey, did anyone ask Robin Hood or Robin of Locksley?" And he's like, "That guy's dead." And he's like, "Well, actually, not."
Yeah, yeah.
And then Will Scarlet's like, "You gotta delay the vote, man." And then they do, because in real life they'd be like, well, he's still legally dead, so we could pass his. You know what I'm saying? We could pass the
Yeah,
vote
yeah,
through.
yeah, yeah. That's right. Yeah.
The vote never shows. Well, the result of the vote never. It's relevant to the plot, but like you never hear if it got passed or not.
Yeah.
And so. Yeah, and then you get a comedic bit about Robin's, Little John's name, which is, I think, similar to the Morgan Freeman's version in the Kevin Costner film,
Okay.
which he gives this long name and then goes, it roughly translates to John.
Okay.
And I think the Kevin Costner version would be, I'm just going to call you John. I think it's the difference there.
Okay.
But
Yeah. I'm skipping ahead here, but all
Yeah.
of the rain hats, the rain hoods that are all around the city, it reminded me of, I am Spartacus. I am
Yeah,
Spartacus.
right.
I am Spartacus. Who is Robin Hood? I am. I am.
The anonymous V for Vendetta.
Yeah. And then Maid Marian makes a statement at some point in the film: the thief is all of us.
Yes.
Not only them, but also Sheriff of Nottingham, the F. Murray Abraham's character.
Yeah.
The cardinal.
So yeah, there's a whole thing with that, and then they go back to the manor, and it's the whole like Batman thing. By day you're going to be Bruce Wayne, and night you're going to be stealing
Yep.
stuff.
Yeah, that's very big nod to
Zorro.
that.
The Count of Monte Cristo, the Scarlet Pimpernel, if you're familiar with that. Which is actually a kind of decent film, but very, very old.
Yeah.
So you got to charm your way into the belly of the beast, is I think what he says.
Yes.
So
That's It's the only way. The only way out is through.
Yeah.
That kind of that
They have this
mentality,
scene
that thought.
where Miriam shows up, and Little John says, "You got to stick to the plan. To bring her would only endanger her." And then she eventually leaves after he gets all kind of like whatever, but. Something about that struck me a bit odd. Do you think that was for plot reasons?
What was that plot?
Drama reasons. So he basically you can't talk to her. You got to stick to the plan. The less she knows, the better.
Yes, but of course, in situations like that, they find out anyway.
Yes.
Because she's a smart, curious woman, and
Yes.
she loves Robin,
Yes.
and she needs to know anyway. But yeah, they were trying. So yeah, I mean, there's like the plot, and then the subplot with Friar Tuck and Marion. They're plotting something else. Robin and John are plotting something else, and it was like, and at some point, they're going to meet in the middle and each find out what the other is doing. Yeah.
It's for me. It strikes me a bit odd because. So like in Batman, at least have you seen Batman Begins? It's very similar to this actually in a lot of ways.
Who plays that Batman in Batman Begins?
Christian Bale.
I believe I have
Yeah.
a while ago though.
So the Katie Holmes character, I'm trying to Rachel. I could think Tom Cruise's wife for a second there. She's actually played by a different actress in the next film.
Oh, okay, yeah.
But he can't bring her in at the beginning because she works for a lawyer. I think she actually works for what would be Harvey Dent later on. I don't know if he's a prosecutor or a defense lawyer or something.
Okay.
So she works in government. So is that kind of she wouldn't be cool with this whole Batman thing.
Yeah, the less she knows, the better. That kind of thing.
Or she might even turn him in too.
This is true. Yeah.
Yeah, there's that whole thing. Even so, at least, and that's kind of the whole thing. Plus, it's highly psychological why he's doing all this stuff in the first place. At least in that version of the character.
And it creates this kind of tension where you're on the edge of your seat, like, oh my gosh, what if they find out, or whatever. It's really.
And the whole point of superhero stories is typically being a superhero makes your life worse, even if you look at Daredevil, Spider-Man, most of the superheroes, with except for maybe like Tony Stark, where his life improves as he kind of whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
But like in Spider-Man, it ruins all of his relationships
yeah,
because
yeah.
of his kind of double life he's
Yeah,
leading.
because he's got to hide some things. He's got to
Yeah.
hide things from people.
And he does for character related reasons, he doesn't think he can let other people know because of whatever, and then that kind of changes. I just don't know in this sequence where you have two characters talking, and you have one character says, "Don't let her know," and the other character goes, "I don't like it, but fine."
Yeah,
It's kind of like the particular kind of character she is. She's not connected to any. Um. Oh shoot. If she was a traditional Maid Marian, which would be she was a ward of Prince John, I think
yeah,
typically. I think she was the ward of Prince John, or maybe the ward of the sheriff in a couple different versions. Um, it, or maybe even might be because yeah. So under the protection of you're the sheriff of Prince John. If it's that situation where she's very very close to the antagonist, I see leaving her out. But if she's in the streets with you,
yeah,
it's kind of
right,
like yeah.
yeah.
It's there's I guess it's saying is it feels like it's for plot versus drama reasons versus more character reasons.
Oh, okay, interesting.
So that she can have she doesn't ever get mad at him for the whole thing.
You know, that was interesting. Yeah, she doesn't really. I mean, the love has always been there,
Yes.
and so it's just like he's back, and she was just like, Robin's back, and she's like, oh my gosh, because she had thought he was dead, and she moved on.
Yeah.
I see her as a warrior on the same level as Robin. That's
Yeah.
how I felt that she was brought into,
Yeah.
into the movie. That they're both warriors in their own way on more or less on the same level, and it's like she's not.
Yeah.
She needs to know what's going on, and she's going to help out.
I feel like most of the versions post the 60s, 70s have done some version of that.
Yeah.
Or at least
She's always lately always portrayed as very strong.
or lately do it or make it more about like she's like literally suffocated by social circumstances.
Right, and
yeah.
she fights it. She really fights. She fights it
in her own ways and
in
all
her
that
own.
stuff.
Yeah.
Because I can't remember the Kevin Costner one, but that one, like the sheriff is like a psychopath. In a sense that well, he's maybe that's not the right term, but he's very sadistic and all that stuff. Yeah.
Okay.
But anyways, man, I don't think the guy. I guess where was it? I should have rewatched that one. The training sequence, Little John. Oh, so yeah, so she leaves, and then they go into the training sequence, which I showed you There's a YouTuber, it's Lars something.
Yeah.
And it's actually a video. It's got like 4 million views, which is a lot for considering how this film wasn't particularly successful.
Yeah.
Which basically showing him training the cast and.
Yeah.
Almost every single shot in the movie, there's like a behind the scenes clip of like the actor doing it, but in like sweatpants.
Yeah. They're
Yeah.
in. You did show me that before we went to record here, went to
Yeah.
tape here, and yeah, that's interesting. And they're doing it with fabric frisbees and everything
Yeah.
like that. Yeah, that's really cool. I mean, yeah, and all the training they all had to take to achieve this film.
Which is so the director said he wanted it to be historically accurate,
Yeah.
which is funny to me.
Yeah.
I actually really did like is in the Russell Crowe one. He has a hammer.
Okay.
I don't know if when he's on on the horse, which is or maybe is Warhammer, whatever the term is for Warhammer's another thing, but
Yeah.
whatever the term Warhammer, whatever the correct thing is, it's pretty much just bows the whole movie.
Yeah.
I don't think there's even a sword fight.
Oh, in this Robin Hood we're talking about.
Yeah, I don't think there's a single sword fight in the
No.
movie, which is very traditional. That sequence where you see the shadows and then it goes to
Yeah.
I think it's parried in like The Rocketeer with Timothy Dalton's kind of playing the Arrow Flynn kind of character.
Yeah.
It's referenced in a few like Indiana Jones films and all that stuff. Yeah, no, maybe. a Spielberg film that I can't quite remember off the top of my head.
Yeah.
So, which is fine. You know, it makes sense that if he's an actual thief, that it would make sense for him to be better at the bow than at the more traditional. You know, knights train their entire from like age
Right.
their early like preteen to like
Yeah.
21 to be a knight. It's like
Yeah.
a very long process.
Yeah. If he's because he's always been portrayed as a thief, you have to move quickly. So
Yeah.
bow and arrow would probably be bow and arrow and quiver would probably be a lot more easier to travel with, and jumping on a horse, riding away,
Yes.
rather than encumbered by a sword or something like that.
Yeah.
And there's at one point where they're training. He and Taron Egerton and Jamie Foxx are training in Loxley Manor, and Jamie cuts away Robin's coat, and he
Yes.
said it's too heavy and you can't move.
Yes.
Yeah, so it's just he tailors the coat and everything. Yeah.
So, and the funny with that training sequence is it's a lot of that stuff, not necessarily the philosophical stuff he's saying, but the actual advice he's given is probably very similar to at least the stuff was saying that video with using your hand as a quiver, so you kind of have all your arrows and your kind of whatever, and being able to rapid fire arrows and all that stuff. So it's such a weird thing because in this movie, because of the tone, the fact that you have machine gun arrow, which okay, I'm sure Da Vinci and these guys had things in this, probably some historical for a Gatling gun arrow thing.
Yeah.
Which is a little wild west in that kind of sense, wherever. But it kind of that's a weird reference to use. But anyways, you have that kind of anachronistic thing there. Then you have an actual thing that feels anachronistic, but is based off of paintings and historical research.
Yeah.
That feels way crazier. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
And so because of the fact it's framed in that way, you're watching it and you're going, well, that's clearly fake, but it's not. You know what I'm saying? Even the way he shoots the arrow behind his head, he actually could do that in real life. And you're like, that's cool.
Yeah.
But it just context. And I think the reason why they did that is for the John Wick films, when you see Keanu Reeves, they show him doing a lot of that training where he's kind of doing the correct poses and movements, where a stable firing platform and all that stuff.
Yeah.
Like he's actually learned room clearing and all that stuff. So that could be part of it. The difference is for archery, it could be if they've taken the historical thing, they've put in a different context too.
Yeah.
So it's like swords. A lot of films have to show swords cutting through armor, which is made of the same material. But in different eras, the importance of a sword kind of fluctuates.
This is
Yeah. So that maybe a mace or an axe or a pike or something else would have been. It's like a sidearm in all cases. But if you're in the case of Robin Hood, where you're back at home, a sword might have increased importance because it's the same. Robbers use revolvers and all that stuff. Yeah.
And perhaps that's what the mine was, is mining for metal so that they could to make their swords or what have you. But you're right about the mine. It's like, what are they mining? And just and it was just this kind of the mine scene was just this post-apocalyptic look to it. And that was another thing too, is this the post-apocalyptic feel of the city and everything, and it was just
so they do all that stuff with the trading. It's interesting. Something about it kind of strikes me a bit odd with it. I don't know if it's the writing or something, but just the way it's framed. But I would have to probably think a little bit more about that. But then he's all like, we gotta work our way into that inner circle, man. It's crazy, man.
Yep.
So then basically you see him as the first time as Robin Hood. And he goes to a toll thing, which I have in the notes. Shows up out of the rain. And then you see him kind of do like the whatever thing.
Yeah.
Like I said, it looks wild. I think you can pierce armor with bows. You would need a war bow.
Okay,
which is like this tall. Which is like, obviously you can't see me.
Okay.
It's like 3 or 4 feet tall.
Oh wow. I did not.
Yeah,
Wow.
I don't know if
that would pierce armor.
in context.
Okay.
Yeah. Maybe the male. I don't know if it'd pierce like the steel. It's steel, right? Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't know as much. I Dunning Kruger. Okay, we just hit 45 minutes. Dunning Kruger effect and all that stuff with the internet. I don't know how much actually how that would actually be implemented, but from what I understand, a short bow like that would definitely be faster.
Yeah.
But I don't know if he'd be able to take out guys in full armor.
Okay.
If
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
would, if that would make sense.
Yeah.
But it would you probably have a better chance with a giant bow like that than you would with a sword per se. But with that point, you'd be kind of having, if you had a short bow like that, you have to be kind of aiming for all the different gaps,
Okay.
the same way you would with a knife or a sword.
Yeah.
But the reason why I point that out though is that he does that thing where he's like, it's all like John Wick. We kind of see him kind of go
Yeah.
pose to pose to pose, right?
Yes.
There. Yeah.
Very. Yeah. Very. It's
Yeah.
almost a ballet
Yes.
look to it, and it wouldn't surprise me if, some of these guys some of the actors are, you have to move, be very lithe or whatever, or lithe. You have to be very lithe as you're
Yeah,
moving and
it's
everything. It's
some
a lot of
agility.
very balletic movements.
And I don't remember the context for this, but there is a part where he disassembles a crossbow like he's not John Wick, Jason Bourne. You know that thing where he pulls the magazine up,
Yeah.
whatever.
Yeah.
Which is funny.
Yeah.
Because it's like, it's just the also these crossbows are like semi-automatic too, which is a
Yeah.
little bit funny.
Yeah.
At least some of them are. I don't know if the particular one he has. That Narnia example I use, it's still like the crossbows typically have a thing where you pull them like a lever,
Yeah.
and you have to kind of pull them back. It's just not quite a one-handed weapon like you see, all that kind of stuff. But yeah. Oh, thank you. Okay, I got you. All right, so we'll have to wrap this up. We're at the 30-minute mark in here. In the story. So
okay.
let's do. So basically, steals the money. He gets in the inner circle. He goes after the tithe. Is that what he does later?
I believe so. Yeah.
Yeah.
He. What about F. Murray Abraham's appearance in there?
That would be.
It's always.
Yeah, and
he's a great actor. He's so good at playing menacing characters.
So before that happens, you do get this whole thing of like Robin Hood becoming a cultural icon or a sort of a symbol.
Yes.
Because in Batman, he's like, I don't want to be a man's defeatable, but a symbol's incorruptible. Yeah. So they got that whole kind of thing. He has this whole sequence where he runs into Will. I don't know if it's her husband or something. Acts very cold. Then he kind of says like, "Oh, Robin's not finished yet" to him.
Yeah.
Which is really interesting.
He addresses himself in the third person.
Well, he kind of does this whole thing where he's almost kind of like, what do you think about this whole Robin Hood guy? And Will's talking to him. He's trying to be nice.
Yeah.
And he's not having it because he's trying to be in character.
Right, yeah.
But would the character he's playing, number one, necessarily hate him, but number two, which I think you would. I think the real guy would, and he would too. That's the reason why he's being mean to marry him.
Yeah.
But would the guy he's playing sort of talk about Robin Hood that way?
Yeah.
Like, oh, he's a scoundrel, gotta catch him. Like, no, he's not finished yet. He's starting to do things. Maybe you're supposed to read him saying like that, but there's a lot of scenes in the Batman movies or with the Shadow or any kind of vigilantes.
Yeah.
I don't know if Zorro's got a split personality. I'm trying to remember.
No.
There's a character like Zorro that I'm trying to remember. But the Scarlet Pimpernel's a good example of that, where he plays this kind of character that's like a fashion conscious upper class guy. He's just a complete fool.
Yeah.
He's gonna walk around and telling people like, oh, that looks whatever, and he has these really idiotic opinions on the character.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of scenes in Batman where they're like, what do you think of Batman? And they'll be like, Batman is just making the city worse. The stuff he's doing isn't making any kind of a real difference.
Right. I liked how Robin of Locksley was hiding in plain sight.
Yeah.
I did, and I'm like, it added to the tension of the movie, and I'm like, who is this Robin Hood? Because some interpretations he's on the run or stealing or anything like
Yeah.
that, and and he's hiding in plain sight to work his way into the inner circle to get the
Yeah.
coin to free the people and
Yes.
everything. And I liked it. I was like, this is a very cool interpretation.
Yeah, and so he has this whole bit with Will, like I said, different
Yeah,
whatever,
yeah.
and then he goes back to John. He's like, we gotta hit him harder. We gotta
Yeah.
take it to the next level. And so you transition to a new scene. This is a sequence, which is really funny because the Matrix took this from an old anime, but where he's behind the pillar. And he's getting shot at, and you're seeing like the dust and all that stuff.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, so the Matrix took that from an old anime that used to pitch the film originally.
Oh, okay.
And then, so it's almost weird to get that intertextual reference. So like '90s anime, late '90s, The Matrix, probably like a bunch of random films. Like I'm sure the Max Payne film does the same
Okay,
thing.
okay,
All
yeah.
those like Matrix, whatever.
Yeah.
2018, which is like
Yeah.
decades after Shrek made fun of the Matrix and all that stuff, right?
Yeah,
With the bullet time thing, yeah. So then at that point, then you have him doing the lobby fight where he's behind a pillar. Now, in all those previous examples, except for maybe Shrek, which also involved Robin Hood in that sequence where they do the Matrix kick, which I just remembered. It's been years since I've seen that film. But when they do the Matrix, but no,
Yeah,
sorry.
yeah.
But
No,
anyways,
that's okay.
yeah. In the lobby fight and in the original example and all that stuff, there's a lot of comparisons on YouTube and stuff.
Yeah.
I don't like the film that's based off of. It's kind of like Blade Runner, but kind of weird and philosophical and stuff. But anyways, it's not talking about Matrix. I'm talking about the anime. It's based the anime they used to pitch the film to the producers. All those examples are using guns. So being behind a stone pillar and having it being ripped to shreds makes a lot more sense than being behind a pillar and it being ripped to shreds by crossbow darts.
Yeah, right, yeah.
Yeah.
Right, yeah. It
'Cause-
just, it was a lot of things getting torn apart in this movie and
Yeah.
everything like that. I saw
Yeah.
Blade Runner for the first time a few years ago,
Oh, really?
and it was like, that was intense. That was very intense.
Yeah. This whatever. But so it's like they even have an FPV shot of a rapid fire crossbow. The whole sequence is funny because it's like they're loading a car up onto a thing. So they load the car up here, then it goes up or down. I can't remember.
Yeah.
And it's like a Rube Goldberg way of processing
Yeah.
stuff. Yeah, you got that kind of thing like
Yeah.
that. And so it doesn't go well. I think he even gets shot. He gets a shot a few times in this by an arrow. And
Yes. Yep.
it's whatever. So then, he gets away, and then you start seeing the whole like he's an icon, all that stuff, and
Yeah.
it's the sheriff is starting to notice the hood's being posted all over the
Yeah,
place.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think they're trying to do it. I think Anonymous does on Real Life. There's that old comic book that they get the Guy Fawkes mask from.
Right. Yep.
Yeah. Never. Well, I tried to read the comic book because it's very dark and violent. Not a huge fan of it, but it's the whole idea of like
Right. Yeah.
the whatever. But yeah, so then the Archdeacon shows up. He's all mad, and then he's like, the Cardinal's gonna show up. We could probably skip to that part.
Ian Peck is the Archdeacon. Yeah, he's menacing. Oh,
Yes.
he's
Yeah. So then, before we get to that, so it's the night of the party. So the sheriff is going to throw a party for Robin Hood, and we probably should have said timer once he said that. Anyways, so Miriam turns out she's got her own plans,
Yes, she does. Yeah.
which is one of the reasons why you should have probably told her so that you didn't both have your own.
Right. Yeah. It was just like she and Friar
Yeah.
Tuck are going one way,
Yeah.
and Robin Hood and Little John are going the other. It's like
Yeah.
that it's like they're both gonna run into each other. It's like, you're doing this, well, so am I, and it's just like
They never use Prince John or King Richard by name, at least that I remember.
Yeah.
I don't know. In this case, they're stealing the what is this? The ledger, which is in Arabic for some reason.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm trying to remember.
Yeah, she's in that room. She's stealing all of the ledgers because that's the evidence and everything. And
Yeah, and Robin kind of sees that something's going on. They have another Batman scene where he's giving his opinion on what you should do with the hood.
Yeah.
He also has them put a bounty on him, which is actually kind of fun.
Yeah.
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 But and then of course you see all that stuff, and then the cardinal shows up. It's all this like ominous music.
No.
And,
Yes. Yeah. Yeah.
yeah.
And
He's got a
then the cardinal and the sheriff of Nottingham are conspiring together to fund the
Both
Arabs,
sides.
and the in the Crusades and everything. And I was like, no way! I said that out loud to the television. No way! You know.
I figured
I'm like,
I was kind of a might as well for me, because it's
Yeah.
like the Catholic Church is basically Illuminati in this film.
Oh, yeah,
you know, in
yeah,
terms of
yeah,
that. Yeah. But which at this time it was the Holy Roman Empire, so they would have connections all over the world,
Mm-hmm.
but you almost expect the Templars to show up or something like
Yeah,
that.
yeah.
But anyways, so they're having this whole meeting about, whatever, and then Robin uses Tuck to get into the room, and then basically says, "Oh, I stole a key for reasons," and which could have really backfired. But he does play it well. Egerton's a good actor.
Yes.
Yeah, I'm not sure how much sense the scene makes, but he's definitely a good actor. But what you get in that sequence is that he basically uses that as a way to get him he basically prevents him from getting killed. He gets him excommunicated. I don't know, or at least defrocked is the term they use. I don't know if he's excommunicated per se.
What? Who would be excommunicated again? What was it?
Friar Tuck.
Friar Tuck.
I think defrocked.
Defrocked, I think, is or
I just made a word up.
Just to note, Taron Egerton played Elton John in the movie Rocket Man.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's good at other things. I can't remember what I'm thinking of off the top of my head, but he's
Let's see what else.
he's one of those. He's got to be like mid-30s now or something.
Yeah, 35 years old. Yeah.
So he probably was 20 something when this
He
movie
was
came out.
The Kingsman, Secret Service, Carry On.
Oh,
He did vocal work in Sing.
he sings.
Yeah.
Duh. Yeah, if you're
Yeah.
gonna be in a
Yeah.
Elton John film.
Yes, this is true.
So yeah, and then basically the Cardinal, who's just known as the Cardinal, I think, played by F. Murray Hammer.
Yeah.
Hammer. Wow. Okay. F. Murray Abraham. My brain swapped all the letters around and
Yeah,
all that
that's
stuff.
okay.
But anyways, he basically is like, I like the cut of this guy's jib. He can stay. All that stuff.
Yeah.
And he's like,
yeah.
all right, talk about the treason right in front of him.
Right. Yeah, right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And then none of it actually surprises Robin Hood, for if I remember correctly. He does play it off as shock in the scene,
Yeah.
but you never see a scene of him and Little John talking about like, dude, man, they're controlling both sides, man. It's all a lie, man. Yeah. That stuff. It's like because Little John's against war profiteering,
Yes. Yes.
but this is kind of more about like controlling narratives. And more that they're doing this to sort of seize the throne.
I didn't.
I think that's what they.
I didn't get that sense, but that could just be my thoughts on it. I thought that they're basically trying to free the people. They're trying to have.
Oh no, the church is doing this. To
Yes,
seize the throne.
yes. Yeah, the church is doing that to seize the throne. Yes, they are. They make reference to the king, but the king is never in the movie.
Yeah,
that's right.
We probably got to speed run the rest of this here.
Yeah.
So and so basically all this stuff happens, and he's all like, "I'm gonna, I need a gesture of goodwill to know that good." And he's like, "I'm gonna seize the mines." And then they have to rush to the mines because Miriam's there and all that stuff.
In the Russell Crowe movie, the king makes an appearance, and he's a young menacing king.
Oscar Isaac.
Yes,
Yeah.
Young menacing king.
So, it's Oscar Isaac's a good actor, and then
yes, he is.
The way they have Richard go out is it's a very interesting take on Richard on that film.
Yeah.
Maybe a little bit maybe the newer revisionist take on him, which is a little bit more of a guy who spent more time abroad than he did at home, and that's why I say revisionist.
Yes, because he was he was killed in the Crusades, and then his little brother becomes king.
He was killed in France, but the Crusades was a huge part of his life.
Yeah.
And so some people wonder how bad is Prince John if he actually stayed home and actually ran things.
Yeah, right. interesting side note, and just if you ever get a chance to see the movie The Lost King, about this woman in England who did research to find Richard III's grave, it's a really good movie. It's called The Lost King.
Yeah. So they basically go and they explain. Will's all kind of mad at the fact that she stole the documents. His motivation's a little hard to read. Now he's doing the thing. Rachel in the Batman film works and has a romantic connection to Harvey Dent, who's Two-Face.
Okay.
So Harvey Dent is initially a crusader, and then something happens to him. He gets half of his face burned, and then he turns into a villain.
Okay.
Hence this film.
Yes,
Yeah.
yes.
So
Yes, that. Will Scarlet.
yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
So they're doing. It's taking similar beats. It's interesting.
Yeah.
I don't know if Harvey Dent. I might be an idiot, but I had a hard time. That's the famous line from The Dark Knight, which is you either die a hero or you live long enough to become the villain. He's talking about some of the dictators in Rome and all that stuff. So the idea is that he's a little bit of a hypocrite. The problem is he's not in the first film, so you don't really have a time to kind of set that up. Some of his hypocrisy and all that stuff. But there's enough subtext that there's some extra. There's just some questions about his whatever. We got 20 minutes left, so we got. But anyways, so they go to the mines. There's this huge cart chase, all that stuff. Robin gets injured in that one. No, Little John gets captured. And
Little John. Yeah.
first time you see Gisborne in action, and then there's a crazy bomb arrow. She figures out it's him, and this is the end of this set of notes. I'll probably wing the rest of it. But the so then basically, I'm gonna switch over my other set. So the whole. That's the second act low point from what I can tell.
Yeah.
Run document.
John says to Nottingham after being captured, I wrote this down, because they're discussing, who's more faithful. A man without faith, John says, lonely, said to Nottingham.
Yeah. And then Miriam kind of tells Robin Hood to kind of keep fighting. So then Sheriff questions John and threatens him and all that stuff. And then John says, your face, my face is the last thing you'll ever see. Your face, that'd be funny. So we're about getting closer here. And then basically there's a whole meeting about leaving the mines.
Yes, that's right, yeah.
Yeah. And then Robin crashes the party. He reveals his identity. And then he convinces Will to kind of, because the idea with Will is he just goes whatever direction the wind blows.
Yes, In this movie, yes, he does. Yeah.
They find Friar Tuck, and Friar Tuck knows how to make bombs. But anyways, let's keep going here. But he's happy to not to be able to defrocked or whatever the term is, and then they're gonna go after the money before it gets to the Holy Land.
Yeah.
So then they set up a meeting at the manor, and they go, "Here's the plan," and then it just cuts to a montage like a Ocean's 11 film.
Yeah. And because they're Little John or John.
Yes.
Jamie Foxx's John is like, at this, stop funding this war effort. People are they're dying.
Yeah.
They're dying ingloriously. If you can die gloriously, people are being slaughtered.
Yeah.
Let's take care of us at home.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And it's and there's a lot of subtext with that. So John escapes, and the crowd shows up as they're trying to move the convoy, and they got face masks on. They got Molotov cocktails.
Yeah.
The guards look like they have riot shields. It's very
that was interesting.
contemporary coded or whatever the term. Yeah. So to avoid getting into a whole bunch of political stuff because of the time.
Right.
It definitely feels like it's definitely post like Occupy Wall Street, all that kind of It's
pulling from a lot of different influences and sources and everything. Yeah.
So they collapse the tunnel. They start taking the money from the cart. The guards use their shields to part the fire, which I don't know how that works. Then Robin gets hit by a bolt pretty nonchalantly. And then Will sees Robin kiss Miriam as he's knocked down. So he gets hit in the back of the head. He's holding the Molotov cocktail, and he falls, burns half of his face. All that stuff. And then they have there's a fight with Gisborne and Robin as they are trying to get away with the money after he gets hit with the whatever, which is interesting. It just doesn't really amount to much. Also, yeah, you would think that Little John's conflict would be with Gisborne and Robin's conflict would be with the sheriff, just because Gisborne is the one who directly responsible for Little John's son's death.
Yeah.
So Miriam knocks him out with like a frying pan or something. The money boat escapes. They go to Will to try to save him. He feels betrayed. Robin gets a bit of PTSD for a bit there.
Yeah.
He jumps up and says, "Here I am," which is actually not a stupid idea. If somebody doesn't get sniped.
Right. Yeah.
Which even then he'd still be a martyr for the cause. The guards take him. They bring him to the sheriff. Robin says everyone will know about the treason, which I'm not sure how that would work. There's no free press. I would assume Prince John would be in on it.
Yeah.
I don't. They talk about the king.
Yeah.
They
They
don't
do.
talk
Yeah.
about Prince John. And then Little John, you see Little John. He kills the guard, takes off his helmet. They kill the sheriff, and then they kind of go to the forest, and it's now they're Robin Hood for real, because that's how every one of these films are. He becomes Robin Hood in the last 10 minutes of the film.
Right. Yes. Yes. He does. Yeah.
And then Will Scar meets with the cardinal. He becomes the new sheriff, and you can see his face is burning.
Yeah.
So, yeah, assuming that the camera is still running, all that stuff. Yeah. So my take away initially. Sorry to speed run that last bit there.
That's okay. I made a note of Robin of Locksley because Will Scarlet is showing the wanted poster of Robin Hood.
Yeah.
Robin of Locksley showing up, shooting an arrow through his wanted poster,
Yes.
and the story goes on.
Yes.
So yeah.
Because it goes from here to legend.
Yes.
Yeah. Yeah. I don't know if I went over my thing. Well.
Okay.
All right. Well, we're back. We had issues. We went longer, and so we had to put another card in. So sorry about the rush ending of the Lisa note. Just going for notes for the ending. But we're gonna frame this in terms of I have my take, Liz has her take, but just why didn't this film click with audiences and maybe critics? So if you wanted to maybe go through a couple of the reviews.
Well,
there.
sure, yeah, and we had. Sean, you and I had talked about that, and I'm like, with this cast, I can't believe that it didn't click with the, audiences or the reviews. This is from Rotten Tomatoes. This latest derivative, uninspired spin on the Robin Hood story, feels like a version of Batman with a bow and arrow instead of a utility belt.
Yeah.
Content collapsed. Put it in the recycling bin. This version of Robin Hood is embarrassing. User reviews on IMDb. An unintentional parody of Robin Hood that is a failure in every way. The cast is good. I agree with that.
Yeah.
But everything else is a disaster. I'm not so sure I agree. The costume design is hilarious and the dialogues are comically bad. This film would work well as a parody.
The dialogue, I don't think it's amazing, but it's perfunctory. At some scenes, it's perfunctory. Some scenes are like kind of funny. I'll get into that later.
Yeah.
Yeah, and then I'll go for the box office.
Yeah. Okay.
So the film had a budget of $100 million, which is actually pretty reasonable.
Yeah, that is. Yeah, and Lionsgate was the
To give you context, the first John Wick film was $70 million. The last John Wick was like $126 million, somewhere around the $150 million range. There are probably rom-coms that cost more money than this film.
Yeah.
Certainly on Netflix, because who knows where their accountants get their calculators from.
Yeah.
So it's a very reasonably priced film. So I think from a studio perspective, they would have assumed that they would have at least, it won't make a ton of money domestically, but it'll make a decent amount of money internationally. This is a film that you could definitely enjoy dubbed, because it's not particularly character driven. It's not particularly dialogue. There's a lot of dialogue, but it's not. It's kind of going for that Transformers overseas kind of crowd. But I don't know. Yeah.
Yeah.
My opinion.
I liked the bringing in and the ideas of from other films. I could see where that could maybe be thought of as a parody, but I thought it, you
Yeah,
know,
pastiche. Yeah.
I love the nods to other movies. I don't I love Jamie Foxx's acting. I thought Taron Egerton as Elton John in Rocket Man he was really good. So and
Yeah.
I don't know I'm kind of the I've seen a couple Robin Hood movies.
Yeah.
The last one before this one, specifically with what Russell Crowe
Yeah.
and Kate Blanchett, which is very very good. It's incredibly good. I don't know. I liked it.
I would be curious to see if that one actually made any money, but
Yeah.
maybe another day. But yeah, anytime you have a box office failure, a few of those ones like we were talking about Blade Runner earlier or something will be reevaluated and or make a bunch of money when it gets on a DVD. This one's tough because it's kind of middle of the road. And it's not particularly exceptional, so I can't see this film making a ton of money. It's not a cult film in that sense,
Right? No,
Yeah,
no,
yeah.
no, no.
Yeah,
And just
But and there's not really like a standout performance in this film in the sense that you would get. There's some film I watched. It was really kind of schlocky, but it was it was called Something Assassin or something,
Okay.
and it was. The film starts out and you're like, he's proposing to his girlfriend on the beach, and all of a sudden random people come on over and shoot people and all that stuff. And
Okay.
then he tries to go after the people, and then the CIA recruits him and all that stuff. And then it's really schlocky, but it has who's the guy that played Batman in the late '80s?
Well, you
Michael
had
Keaton.
Michael Keaton. I
Yeah.
was going to say Val Kilmer,
Yeah.
who just passed. You know, and
yeah,
just
that's unfortunate.
Yeah.
So Michael Keaton is like in a different movie, a much better movie
Yeah,
than everybody
yeah,
else.
yeah.
And I don't think there's not really like anything like this in there where you could go. Like there's actors that will be good in any film they're in, like I don't know, like Denzel Washington or Anthony Hopkins or something, right? And it's like a lot of this film. If this film made money, it would make sense to me, but it also makes sense to me that it didn't quite hit either. You know what I'm saying? I was watching the show Terra Nova, and it's got that thing too where it's incredibly middle of the road. So it got canceled, but you're not going to get a giant letter writing campaign like Star Trek or Firefly got to bring the show back because it's kind of a 4-quadrant thing.
Yeah.
Not necessarily that make it bad, but yeah, the thing about it being a parody, I thought was funny the first time I saw it.
Yeah.
On
Okay, yeah.
on rewatches, considering the state of cinema these days, the guy that made it is the director behind Peaky. I've never seen Peaky Blinders. I've heard good things about it.
Yeah, it's Peaky Blinders is good.
Yeah,
It's a
and
good. Yeah.
Yeah. So if you're the director, you're not going to be directors in television are much more you would have a director, and then the showrunner would have a lot of say over how that goes. It's a much more of a showrunner producer driven medium.
Okay.
So maybe a lot of that, if it's a show with Cillian Murphy in it.
Cillian Murphy's
Yeah,
in.
yeah.
He plays one of the lead roles.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you definitely could sort of. It's probably better dialogue, all that stuff. Like the dialogue in this is not like Battlefield Earth bad. I don't know if you've seen Battlefield Earth.
No,
but,
I have no.
Yeah, but anyways, my takeaway I wrote a few years ago. Actually, it might be the one I wrote a few years ago. When I was in, my takeaway was when I was incompetent, something like Battlefield Earth. Robin Hood 2018 is a strange mix of tropes, blatant historical anachronism, and tonal clash, leading to a film with identity crisis that functions as an unintended dry comedy. But when I mean dry comedy, I mean like Christopher Guest mockumentary,
Yeah,
like very,
like
very,
this is Spinal Tap
yeah,
type of stuff.
or waiting for,
Waiting for Guffman.
yeah, waiting for Guffman.
yeah.
Very, if it, like you could take it literally, and it functions. Just a lot of it too is like if you're I don't know, are you in action films much?
I like action films. Yeah.
So if you're in action films, you play video games. A lot of that stuff, it's kind of like when he shoots an arrow up straight in the air. I think it's not like it should pick a lane, but if you're going to go steampunk, go the full steampunk.
Yes,
Like,
I agree.
have an M16 crossbow, have the sheriff have an air balloon,
yeah.
or something. A lot of those films that do that too didn't make money. So
Well, you know, but
yeah,
it would have been a completely different film if you went full steampunk.
Yeah.
If you a steampunk aesthetic
yeah,
for this film, it would have been a different story.
Yeah.
It would have been a completely, you know.
yeah. The contemporary politics stuff, a lot of that stuff is very anti-corporate. That's in the film. But it's a corporate product, so there could be some of that too.
I was thinking, and I love steampunk.
Yeah.
I love steampunk stuff. I love
Yeah.
anything steampunk. But
Yeah.
you could think too: is it a Robin Hood film, an interpretation of the Robin Hood story utilizing steampunk, or is it a steampunk film retelling the story of Robin Hood?
Yeah,
I mean, it could go both.
It definitely felt like someone in that boardroom during the pitch said the word edgy at least once.
Right. Yep.
Unironically. Like I said, it's anytime you have a thing like this, it's like if it succeeds, it's there's that story they talk about with in World War II where they were analyzing the aircraft that would come back. They were ridden with bullet holes, and they tried to reinforce all the places where they've been shot. Then it dawned on them that I think it's called survivor bias. It dawned on them that the planes coming back aren't the ones they should be looking at. It's the ones that don't come back.
Oh.
Yeah,
Okay. Yeah.
And this one, it's tough because I can think of films way sillier than this that made money.
Yeah.
I can think of films much better than this that didn't make money.
Yeah.
The BBC adaptation of Robin Hood 2 I actually think is also unintentionally hilarious in parts, but for very different. It's very kind of it's very sincere. They came out at the same time as Merlin. Now Merlin's a very good show.
Yeah. Okay.
A lot of people like it. I have some issues with it. Actually, I shouldn't give away that. I really wanted to tell you how the show ends, but it's a whole nother thing.
Okay.
But it actually is relevant to this, but it's a spoiler for the last episode. But the thing with that though is it plays it it has the PTSD, the kind of Iraq era Bush Light, all that kind of stuff.
Yeah. Okay.
In there in 2004-ish. But it's sort of still within the technology and tropes of the time. And you do have a few things where the Turkish character, and I can't remember if the Turkish one, I think, does bring in some of their science, which their science, from what we've heard, is very like gunpowder and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But it's in the show anachronistic, in that sense.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's what do you think? What did you think of, for example, like the direction, like the camera work and the placement of actors and the way that they were directed to do their lines?
I liked it.
Okay.
I liked it. I'm
Yeah, the
I thought,
cinematography.
the cinematography, the light and dark shadows and everything, the combat scenes and everything like that. I liked it. I thought it was shot really well. It was it was kind of steampunk, dystopian. Apocalyptic grays, a lot of grays, browns, blacks, steel, smoke, fire, and everything like that. And the sand areas of fighting in the Crusades and everything, and all the shadows and light and everything. I thought it was shot really well.
Yeah, the camera work on rewatch, it doesn't have that kind of weird. A lot of these films have this weird tint to them. Especially where they're trying to be like the gritty reboots. It's all desaturated, like blue or green or yellow.
Yes.
Didn't do that. It definitely feels like if you got someone, Peaky Blinders is a cable show, right?
Yes, it is.
Or a cable or streaming show?
It's streaming on Prime, I believe.
Okay.
Or it might be Netflix. Yeah.
Cable shows tend to look better than a lot of your typical 2010s action film, but then they're not it still looks like a time constraints.
Okay.
So it does have that kind of like it feels like they kind of lessen the time constraints a little
Yeah.
bit, but I wouldn't put it down for like a Nolan film
Yeah,
or
yeah.
something like that. At least in its prime. But the lying is not irritating, and it's the way like I saw like Assassin's Creed. I remember the film. It looks like. Did you ever see the film Arrival with Amy Adams?
What, Arrival? No,
Yeah.
I haven't. That's not. But
It's
I like
interesting.
Amy Adams. So
Yeah,
that,
yeah, she's a good actress. It's interesting, but it's also a very frustrating film. The whole film looks like uncorrected logs, so the shadows are up and the highlights are down.
Oh, okay.
So the whole film is really flat looking.
Oh, okay.
And that's what you would expect in the year of 2018, a film like a desaturated and
Yeah.
it's it's more real or something. The camera's shaking around. The action scenes are pretty easy to read. They're not up to the standard of John Wick or
Yeah, I mean, John Wick's, that whole franchise is amazing.
it would have to
Yeah.
be R-rated to probably not
Yeah.
have to cut away as much to do that.
What is the rating on this Robin Hood movie?
PG-13,
Is it PG-13? Okay.
So that means a lot of those sequences they have to kind of like cut away right before impact.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
Or you see
yeah.
people get killed in complete blows.
Yeah.
I don't know if it would have made the film more profitable. A few films have done that where they've released director's cuts, and
Yeah.
sometimes they'll sell better on DVD. For this film, it would be a lot of terrible CGI stuff that whatever.
Yeah.
I'm not a fan of
yeah,
those
probably.
typically.
Yeah.
Anyways, the staging and stuff. John Wick pulls the camera back. A lot of old like John Woo films do that.
Yeah.
And it kind of does that, but it's kind of like it's competent. I'll just say that it's not the way I would have done things or the way a director I would prefer would do things, but it's very competent. People say the dialogue is bad. I don't like it,
Okay.
but I wouldn't say it's a lot of it's very exposition heavy, in the
Yes.
sense that
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
it's
a lot of thinking out loud.
a lot of thinking out loud, yeah. And
Yeah.
for a story like this, you would want
Show. It's like show, don't tell.
yeah, or even telling is showing. Like that's one
Yeah,
thing
yeah.
David Mamet will go on about. So the way a character talks is showing how they talk.
Yeah.
So you would want someone like The Sting or something. There's a lot of great sequences where you see the dialogue is on one level, the script is doing a lot of subtextual stuff, and so you can kind of almost get like when you have a scene of a guy playing a character, there's that layer of him playing a character, there's a layer of his goals, and then how he's choosing to play the character
Right, yeah.
to match with the expectation of the guy. You could in a film like that, you could do a film that's like The Sting but Robin Hood.
Yeah. Yeah.
Or a David
Yeah.
Mamet film but Robin Hood.
Oh, yeah.
I
It could be. That would be an interesting interpretation. Yeah.
I don't think it would make any more money,
Yeah. Yeah.
but but then again,
Do you think the Robin Hood story is played out? The tale,
no,
the myth, or the legend, or anything?
no,
Do you think there's more room for reinterpretations and doing everything?
it's like everything. Jazz never went away completely,
Right. Okay.
but
yeah.
you're not gonna get a top 40 hit, technically.
Yeah. Okay.
So at some point, something mainstream becomes a genre. At some point.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
Rock used to just be pop. Now it's a subgenre.
Yeah.
There's now a distinct '70s metal versus the contemporary stuff.
Yeah. Yeah.
You have to budget it accordingly. A BBC adaptation can get away with being Robin Hood because no, it's their country. That's
yeah.
that's a huge part of their cultural
Right.
heritage.
Yeah.
Yeah. But also, you're not gonna probably get a big budget thing with it until like maybe there's until there's some kind of weird mania, like for example, like swing dancing and stuff like that. Like the different eras where like it'll be popular again.
Yeah. Line dancing. I remember line dancing was
The
popular.
kind of people that are interested in a Robin Hood film, which I would put myself in that category. I'm a big fan of the book Ivanhoe, or at least the abridged version I read as a kid. I did try to read the regular book. I still have to work my way through. Big fan of Monte Cristo. Big
yeah,
fan
yeah.
of a lot of those like Zorro and all those kind of stories. Those kind of people aren't going to be as down for the steampunk stuff unless you really
Yeah,
really go
so
into
you're
it.
using steampunk as the vehicle to now,
Yeah.
the new vehicle to move the
And
story.
it's
Yeah.
actually kind of steampunk in this film because of the mines.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah,
don't.
right. Yeah, you're right.
It's
Yeah.
it's like a Doctor Who episode where you got the robots that are archers and stuff like that. And
Yeah.
yeah. So the Brits, when they brought it back, they mostly played it to the way. Robin of Sherwood takes a more like a Rousseauian, animalistic, class-based warfare, the idea of like colonization and all that stuff, in terms of that rich versus poor. This is kind of more contemporary. I also think a lot of people who do tend to be in the Robin Hood story. No, I don't know if royal. It's kind of like making a film about historical, trying to make a film that played to like royalists. That's also like
Yeah.
anti. You know what I'm saying? It's kind of
Yeah,
like
there
that.
was they
Yeah.
kind that rich versus poor was kind of left out of this, and what was
Yeah.
making the people poor was the Crusades War,
Yeah.
which I guess was true in the story, but
It's-
it wasn't you weren't dropped in media res. The people are poor, and the king and the sheriff of Nottingham
Yeah.
are rich,
Yeah.
and here comes Robin Hood to steal from the rich and give back to the poor. It was everybody was doing fine
Yeah.
until the wars started.
The if you want to talk about like class inequality and all that stuff, the 2010 version is a move towards like a constitution and like republicanism.
Yeah,
And I don't
yeah.
mean like American, but like the idea of having a country governed by laws and not just by like a whatever. And and that film is, I know it's odd for other reasons. I think I'd probably like it better if the character wasn't Robin. It was like a guy. If I would have called it Robert of Locksley or Robin of Locksley, that might have actually whatever. But you can definitely do takes like Sherlock Holmes. There's a new one every so many years. You had Elementary, you had the Robert Downey Jr. films.
Yes,
you
yeah.
had which are Guy Ritchie, but if you
Benedict Cumberbatch.
yes, and then there was the Jeremy Brett ones in the 80s and 90s.
Yes, yep.
There's a 50s television show. There's radio serials. There's a cartoon about him going into the future, which is actually kind of all right, at least from what I remember as a kid.
There's the new show Watson on, I forget what network, but
Yeah.
Morris Chestnut plays Dr. Watson.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's American versions. There's British versions. There's probably versions made in Japan. All that stuff.
Yeah.
All that stuff. And there's definitely spirit sequels like House. Which,
Yep.
Which are kind of obviously the difference with Sherlock Holmes, and the same thing with the stories, is the cultural version of Sherlock Holmes is not 100% true to the books per se.
Right, yeah.
Moriarty only appears in a handful of books at most. Arya and
Yeah.
Adler's in one.
Okay.
And maybe a reference in another. So Sherlock Holmes, you don't have that kind of G.I. Joe Cobra where he's like showing up and
Right, yeah. Oh, I was just
every
thinking of
episode,
the network, the Netflix series Enola Holmes.
Yes.
She was the little sister of Sherlock Holmes. Yeah.
Yeah. So he's in the zeitgeist in the way Robin is, but this is not a film about him being in the woods and
Right. No,
Yeah,
it's
yeah.
no, it's not.
like,
It's
not the 1950s TV show.
he's not. He doesn't come across. He's not the pauper. He becomes
Yeah.
pauperish after because he comes home to nothing. I mean,
Yes.
his manor's been robbed. It's been destroyed and everything.
Which
and
is
he's
probably something they took from the BBC show.
yeah, and he has to fight to get everything back, including the love of his life.
Yeah. So you can do takes like the show Merlin by the BBC frames everything from Merlin's perspective.
Okay.
And so from that point, you're seeing things like the difference, like let's say like magic versus like organized religion and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
And it's a different take. So Arthur is a much more tragic figure in that show,
Yeah.
which does fit different versions of the character. You have a different version of Lancelot. You'll see that kind of thing like that. And plus in Britain, it's kind of their part of the myth of their founding.
Yes.
So
Yes. Yep.
Robin Hood's weirder because it's a better documented part of history.
Yeah.
He could be a combination of 3 or 4 different people, a
Right,
noble,
yeah, yeah.
some thieves, all that stuff.
Yep.
And it's all the people he interacts with are kind of real,
Where did the
Characters.
story originate from, Robin Hood?
like some poetry, if I'm not mistaken.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So and it's like a lot of these ones where, like for example, in the author legend, um, what's her name? Morgana Le Fay. Am I saying that right? Probably. She's sometimes a villain, sometimes a helper.
Okay.
Yeah, and there's also the versions where the kind of anglicized is my not the right term, but they shift it more from a whatever thing to more of a like you turn Merlin to a bishop and all that stuff. Yeah,
Yeah.
so you get a little bit of that. So some of these more revisionist versions are trying to take it back to like an older version, like Robin of Sherwood, which I've mentioned. I don't know if I like that show, but it's interesting. So he's like the guy that gets him recruits him is like a guy with like antlers on
Oh,
his head.
really?
So when he's talking to him, he's like possessed by a spirit,
Okay.
and then he'll take off the helmet and talk as himself.
Was this a BBC show or was
ITV?
ITV? Oh,
Yeah, yeah.
in the United. Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
so they're
Got
the
it.
for-profit
Oh, okay.
television.
Yeah. Okay.
Some crossover there. I think Jason Connery plays. There's two different characters that kind of take on the Robin of Mantle. Robin of Mantle. The Mantle of Robin Hood.
Okay.
In that,
Okay.
yeah. So I don't know. It's like a lot of these things. It's kind of if a show like I said, if you make 86 million on a $100 million budget, that's not good. But
You're right. Yeah.
I think it's like everything else. You got to know who your audience is, and that's
Well, and
yeah.
the bad reviews. I'm just surprised with the cast. I mean, it was, more or less an all-star cast.
Yeah, I don't know. So some of them are like Friar Tuck. I think he's good.
Tim Minchin.
Yeah, but you almost need more stuff for him to do. If you
A little
want.
bit, yeah. I would have liked to
Yeah.
have seen a little bit more of him. In the film.
I definitely prefer like Kate Blanchett as Miriam to maybe this actress.
Okay.
She's not bad,
Okay. Yeah.
but doesn't make much of an impression.
Yeah.
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 Tara Egerton, it probably depends on the day of the week. You know,
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And Jamie Foxx, I am kind of mixed on him as an actor in general.
Okay. Okay.
So, he plays this kind of angry dude typically. But have you seen the film Collateral with Tom Cruise? A Michael Mann film.
I might have a long time ago.
Oh, he's great in that. But he plays a taxi cab driver, and Tom Cruise is basically like a hitman. And the whole point of the film is Tom Cruise's character's kind of calling him out on like not taking charge of his life, kind of a thing.
Okay.
So he kind of through the film kind of develops a spine and kind of takes charge and then prevents the character from doing but he's kind of lying to himself and others about his ambitions and also it's good. But if you watch a film like Baby Driver, he's just kind of like angry and all that kind of stuff, and he's kind of I don't know, I started playing my fist there for a second. That's probably real loud on the microphones, but so he kind of plays that in this film. Not bad, but like I like him in Collateral. I like him in Soul. If you've seen that, it's an animated film.
I haven't seen
He's a
that.
jazz musician in
Oh,
that.
okay,
Yeah,
Soul. Okay.
yeah.
I like Jamie Foxx.
Yeah.
He's a good. I like him. He's a good actor.
Like I said, a mix. He's kind of like Mark Wahlberg in that sense, where he's not like dislikable, but sometimes if you see him like as Max Payne, you're like.
Yeah, okay.
I don't know.
Yeah.
You'd have to be familiar with the games to kind of
yeah.
get that thing where it's like, you tell me you couldn't find a guy that had the same kind of affect or whatever. But anyways, I don't know. Like I think the direction's fine. I think the script writing's serviceable in parts. There's a couple of things I think is a little bit odd. You know, like I said, having a better script would have made it more money, but it could have had a following. Sometimes these films will actually get sequels greenlit if there's enough of a discovery later on.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Okay. Interesting. Yeah.
I'm trying to think of on top, like Blade Runner being a good example. I don't know who greenlight a $200 million sequel to Blade Runner.
Yeah.
But you know what I'm saying.
Yep.
They thought that there was enough of an audience there, and they were really, really wrong about that.
Oh,
But,
okay. All right. Yeah.
He's the guy that directed the Dune films.
Oh, really?
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah.
Okay.
And Dune and shoot, that film with Amy Adams I was mentioning earlier. Arrival.
All right. Yeah.
Yeah.
And what's his name? What's that director's name?
Denis Villeneuve.
Okay.
Denis Villeneuve. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Denis Villeneuve. Yeah, he's a French Canadian or
Yeah.
something. Yeah, yeah.
Okay. Okay. Interesting.
So
Oh.
yeah, so it's a bit of that, but yeah, it's an odd thing. So it's like you gotta when you're pitching this film, I'm like, yeah, we're gonna get those core Robin Hood fans. You know what I'm
Yeah.
saying?
Yeah.
Who are
Yeah.
probably mostly British.
Yeah.
You know, it's
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
mostly
Yeah.
English speaking.
Right.
You know,
Because
that's
it is the story originated in
yeah,
Great Britain and
probably not
everything.
French. You know, it's
Yeah.
stuff.
Right.
It's
Yeah.
yeah,
Yeah.
it's like King Arthur in that sense. You know,
Yeah.
where and that's the thing with it. If they would have played it very straight and very to the source material, I don't know if it would have made more money. I think the 2010 version, I have issues with it,
Yeah.
but I kind of can see it's still very much in that era. Like that sea sequence at the beginning of the film is kind of cool. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's historically accurate. I don't know
Yeah.
enough about
Oh
medieval
yeah,
battle
the
tactics.
urchin, the forest urchins stealing the
Oh no,
seed
I didn't
in
care for that. But
2010. Oh, okay.
the castle siege.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah.
So that's
yeah,
based
yeah.
off of how King Richard died in real life, where he gets killed by a random guy. And,
Oh yes,
yeah.
the castle
Yeah.
scene at the beginning. That's right. That's right.
yeah,
in the 2010 film.
yeah, they just got the
Yeah.
weird D-Day landers at the end of the film.
Right.
and,
Yeah. Yeah.
We were like,
yeah.
why would they not just pull up in little boats? And
Yeah. Right.
we could get our D-Day
Yeah.
landers just in case they slip a machine gun arrow on the rock face or something, like a Saving Private Ryan or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, I don't know. There's not a lot to be said about it, and I think that's probably the issue with the film. It's if you like it, you probably like it, but everyone else is probably just kind of like whatever. On
Yeah.
it,
Yeah. Yeah.
Like it's not like a film like Assassin's Creed. You probably didn't see that where I was like bewildered at the end of it, going, "Who thought this was a good idea?"
Yeah. Right. Okay.
Yeah,
Yeah.
you know. And like I said, every once in a while you'll get a weird one. Like they had the Greatest Showman.
Oh yes. Yeah. That movie.
I still very confused, but it's a musical.
Yes.
And it had not Russell Crowe, the other guy, Hugh Jackman. They're
Yeah.
friends.
Yeah. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. This film probably needed a Russell Crowe or Hugh Jackman to make
Yeah.
money.
Kind
Yeah.
of. Yeah. Push it through or what have you.
I just said it wasn't, but I'm actually gonna look up how much money the Russell Crowe film made.
Okay.
I bet you, at least with Ridley Scott, is attached to it, and then we'll probably wrap this up. So
Okay.
didn't do well critically, but it did better. Ooh, actually a little bit more expensive. 135 million.
Okay.
Which you have to. Inflation's gone nuts in recent years, so it's hard to say. It made 321 million.
Oh, the 2010 film.
It's a
And
much drier film too. If you
Okay,
think about it.
and what was it? What was it made for?
150. Oh, some people think it actually was much more expensive.
Okay.
So there's rumors it might have been 273 million, which is
Oh, okay.
that's wild if true. But 155 million is the bottom of the range you're given.
Okay.
So it's you usually want to make at least 2.5 times your budget. So 321 million is not amazing. So it seems a disappointment, but it did make 3 times as much as this film.
Okay. Okay.
So you got
I love that 2010 film too. Is
it's the Ridley Scott,
yeah.
Russell Crowe reunion.
Yeah.
Kate Blanchett is a great actress. There's
Yeah.
a lot of
Yeah.
like it's got William Hurt in it.
I
Yeah.
was
Yeah.
looking at the cast right now.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was William Marshall and everything.
passed away recently.
Yeah, he did. I like anything
Oscar
William
Isaacs. Yeah.
William Hurt and Mark Strong as Sir Godfrey, Max von Sydow.
Yes. Yeah,
you
great
know.
actor. Yeah.
I loved Mark Addy's Friar Tuck in that movie.
I'm trying to remember him.
He was the beekeeper.
Yes,
yeah. And he
yeah.
was making the mead.
He's in the
and
last
everything.
battle for wearing chainmail for some reason.
Yeah.
So it shows up when Kate Blanchett shows up with the child soldiers and all that stuff.
Yeah.
But you can see why though. Like the cast of that film is like, it's if you were trying to make a historical epic, it's a historical epic cast. You know what I'm saying? It feels like they were trying to make a legitimate.
Right.
Not like a David Lean film, but just sort of like the kind of typical film he makes, which is a little bit of a
Right.
weird mismatch of real history with a bit of not revisionism. Revisionism is usually could be read as malice, not malice, but like partisan.
Yeah.
But he does like Gladiator has a weird mix of like weird historical stuff mixed in with whatever. And it's not like it's a little bit set almost on its own like dimension almost. And then Napoleon, the more recent one I've heard, people say just jumps around. To kind of yeah.
Okay.
Maybe not as successful as some of his previous stuff, but it's a long film, so I just
Yeah.
chose not to watch it. But it,
Napoleon is? It's a
yeah,
long film?
yeah,
Okay,
and I did a
yeah.
director's cut. So like, I'm a huge fan of that era. So
yeah.
if I didn't like it, it would be a long.
Yeah, it'd be a long,
From
you know,
the trailers
yeah,
and
yeah,
stuff, I didn't. Yeah. It is just the battle scenes and all that stuff. But anyways,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, we should wrap it up here because this is going to be a long show. But yeah, so I don't know. My takeaway is I don't think it's not quite laugh as funny as Battlefield Earth is.
Yeah.
I've shown it to a few friends, and my family was either kind of thought it was fine or didn't really get it. You know.
Yeah.
So maybe because I was studying film at the time, I'm a huge, fan of Robin Hood, the Arthurian legend, a lot of that old British folklore.
Yeah.
So to see it sitting there and kind of watching it might just been the moment struck me the right way, hit the funny bone, kind of.
Yeah.
And there's a lot of stuff in here, especially if you've played through any of the Call of Duty games, bizarre parallels into
Yeah.
that, which is like those Call of Duty games are also pulling from the same
Yeah.
Black Hawk Down
Yeah.
and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So I don't know if would you recommend this film to like a friend?
Yes, just to watch it.
Yeah.
Just to watch it and see what their takeaway would be.
You could do worse.
Yeah, it's
Yeah,
an hour.
yeah,
It's an
yeah.
hour 56.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
a 2-hour film. A lot of films are
Yeah.
2-hour films. I would recommend it and then say, hey, what do you think?
Yeah. It definitely is is a litmus test, the term.
Yes.
Yeah, it'd be interesting to see like what historical busts that are a little bit better read. Like I said, my I don't know, something like the certain eras I tend to be or whatever, and I'll do more research. I have done some research into that particular time period, but it is a myth. So you have to kind of
Yeah.
you have to sort of separate the legend from what was actually happening in the 1100s
Right.
with
Right.
the
You have to
Crusades.
suspend some logic to
Or
just
place yourself into the logic of a different world.
this is true.
Yeah,
that's-
versatile and all that. So, but yeah, it's interesting. I would definitely, if you have some curiosity, I would. Robin of Sherwood's a little bit of it's the pacing's a bit odd. It's much darker than this. Not like cable television dark, but just sort of it's like anti-Semitism is like an episode comes at. It might be interesting. The 1950s television show, I can't remember what it's called. It was written by a lot of blacklisted writers from that time period. The BBC one is watchable. I don't think it's as good as some of the other stuff like the Doctor Who revival or Merlin or some of the other stuff was going on at the time. It's the casting's interesting. It does have some interesting take on the characters. It just doesn't quite gel. And the 2010s film is interesting.
Yeah, I liked it.
And then Kevin Costner film. Yeah, I would put that as a classic. It's got Alan Rickman.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Did he
yeah.
make that? Did Kevin Costner make that right after Dances with Wolves or around
I
the
think
same time?
before. I think
Before.
Dances
I
Wolves
think we might have talked about that.
is later 90s. Yeah, I
Because
think.
Dances with Wolves is 91.
Oh, they might be afterwards. Oh, it's 90. Oh, this is afterwards then.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, Robin Hood would be. No, that's the
Dances with Wolves is a 1990
1991 would have been the following year.
film. Oh, okay.
Dances with Wolves is not Dances with Wolves. I think he directed that film, didn't he? Kevin Costner.
Yeah. I believe so. Yes, he did. He
Yeah.
found the
It's kind of his Braveheart.
yeah.
Yeah.
He found the novel that it was based on, and he
I haven't seen it, but I've been to the set, or at least where they moved the sets to.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh, if you get a chance to see Dances with
Yeah.
Wolves, you may love it.
Yeah,
You may
it's
like
in my
it. You may love it.
Braveheart, Dances with Wolves, Gladiator. It's in that kind of like 90s historical.
Yeah.
I've seen.
It's really good.
Oh, have you seen Master and Commander?
Master and Commander.
Yeah,
No.
it's a bull movie. That's great. We could
yeah.
probably cover that on the show. It's a Russell Crowe and a lot of great actors. It's a Napoleonic warfare era film.
Okay.
Anyways, directed by the guy that made the Truman Show.
Oh.
Anyways, yeah. To wrap this up, I can't remember what I was talking about, but yeah, I would say in the pantheon of adaptions, there's probably well, I can think of a worse one, but it's really obscure. But I don't know if it's better than the BBC show. I have different whatever problems I have with the 2010 one kind of means like these are different things. The 2010 is a little bit more highbrow. This is a little bit more middle to lowbrow in terms of what its ambitions are. The 80s one I think is very, very cynical in ways, a bit harsher, a bit darker, all that stuff. But it's a more of a unique take than some of these other ones are. Like I said, the kind of reframing as kind of colonialism and pagan versus organized religion and all that stuff.
Oh.
And the 50s one is just a good time. I would definitely say the Errol Flynn one is probably the archetypal. And there's a Douglas Fairbanks one I've never seen.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Which would
That's a golden age of Hollywood. Douglas Fairbanks, Errol Flynn.
Yes.
Yeah.
And the camera work is a little bit odd by today's standard for the Errol Flynn one, but it's very fun. I've watched it twice. Once, and I watched it with my brother, and he liked it.
Yeah.
He's not like some of my sisters where he won't want to watch anything before the 90s.
I see. Okay.
We'll watch like a Green Hornet serials and all that stuff. So.
Have you ever seen the movie Chaplin with Robert Downey Jr.?
No.
You may like that one. You know, it's in.
Yeah. It'd be interesting because I read Chaplin's biography and I kind of wouldn't recommend that.
Okay. Yeah.
It wasn't an autobiography, but it's like, oh, that puts a new spin on that.
Yeah.
Anyways, still good actor, performer, but it does just. I was rating like 2014, 2015. I took some of the good context of the stuff going on. Don't want to necessarily get into that. But anyways. But yeah, that was that. I'm trying to figure out this format. I'll probably do some solo reviews of I got stuff for television shows, and it's a lot to ask someone to watch 5 seasons of a television show to do a 2-hour show. And some of those television shows I wouldn't necessarily wish on my worst enemy, but for some reason, the Prisoner remake, I need to warn people about that.
Oh, okay.
I'm being a little bit facetious there. But yeah, this is... I gotta get this name down. Robots, Detective, and Spies with Sean, and today with Liz. And thank you for coming on and talking about it. And
thank you for inviting me.
Putting the time in to write notes and all that stuff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I'll definitely get the show, get some feedback on it. Probably do a bit of a multi-camera stuff, make it a little bit jazzier the next time, all that stuff. But hope you appreciate the show and roll outro.